Hello everyone and welcome back. In the previous lecture we have discussed about relative and absolute reference in Excel. Now in this lecture we are going to learn about the order of operations in Excel. So without any further ado, let's jump into our Excel application and discuss about the same. So here we are inside of our Excel application. Now before we got into calculations, I mentioned that you don't need to worry about doing maths inside of Excel. It does everything for us, right? But there is something we need to be aware of. And this is going to take us back to our early days of maths. We are going to talk about the order of operations in Excel. Now, what if for instance, we do some simple calculations? We will not be dealing with the formulas for now, but we will do some regular calculations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. So let's say we want to calculate some basic stuff like 5 plus 10 divided by 2. Well, what do you think? The answer is going to be? Now, some of you might say it is going to be something like 5 plus 10, that is 15, then 15 divided by 2, which is gonna give us some decimal answer. So let me hit the enter key on my keyboard to get the answer. Well, what just happened here? This is not a decimal answer. It is an even number, that is 10, right? So how did this happen? Let me explain it to you. Whenever we are dealing with a calculation that have both addition and division mixed in, then what always happens first is division. Addition and subtraction is always performed after the division. So this is the order which we need to keep in mind. And same happened here as well. So if I give it a double click, have a look. Firstly, this 10 is divided by 2, that gives us 5. And then that 5 coming from this division gets added to this 5, which in turn gives us 10 as a result. So we have to be aware of stuff like this because we might be doing some calculations, especially with formulas in Excel. And if we don't know about the order of operations, then we might get confused. So let me show you the correct order of operations here. Microsoft Excel evaluates the formulas from left to right following a particular operator precedence. So the first operator that is performed first is parenthesis. Anything inside of the parenthesis is always performed first. No matter if it is addition, multiplication, division, subtraction, whatever it is. If it is in the parenthesis, it will be calculated first. So that's on the top of the list. Now the operator that comes next in the list is exponents. Any calculation that includes exponents will be done after parentheses. Alright? After exponents, the operators that comes next in the list are multiplication and division. So multiplication being the asterisk sign and division being the forward slash. And finally, the operators that comes last in this list are addition and subtraction. So here we have the order of operations. And by the way, this is not the rule of Microsoft Excel. Basically, this is the rule of algebra. Anything in the parentheses happens first, then any calculation that includes exponents happens next, then anything that's multiplied or divided happens next, and then anything that adds or subtracts happens next. So I really hope that this order of operations is clear to you. Now let's get back to our example once again. Now for whatever reason, if you want this addition to happen first, we can do that, right? This can be done if we put 5 plus 10 in parentheses, isn't it? It's gonna tell Excel that according to the order of operations, calculate the parenthesis first and then take the result of that and divide it by 2. So let's do that. I'm going to keep 5 plus 10 in parentheses and then hit the enter key on my keyboard. And now let's see what will be the answer. And now you will see that we got the decimal answer, right? And that's what we have assumed previously. So keeping the order of operations in mind, we can do some more complex calculations now. And for your practice, I have prepared a spreadsheet for you, which is named as exercise. Have a look at the bottom. Now, when you will get in here, you will find an exercise in which you have to evaluate the formulas following the order of operations in Excel. Now, in this exercise, you have to evaluate all these formulas keeping in mind the order of operations. And for your better understanding, I have evaluated two of these formulas. Have a look. Now, I will explain you how I have calculated these two formulas. Alright? Now have a look at the cell B4. Now in this formula, we need to evaluate 8 plus 7 multiplied by 2. Now keeping in mind the order of operations, addition always happens after multiplication. This means, first of all, 7 will be multiplied by 2, then the result of it will be added later with 8. So 7 multiplied by 2 will give us 14. Then that 14 will be added with 8, that will result in 22. Now let's have a look at the cell B9. Now in this formula, we have E3 plus G3 multiplied by F3. Now what are these E3, G3 and F3? So let me tell you. These are all the variables. And you can find the values of these variables right here in these tables. Have a look. So the value of E3 is 6. The value of F3 is 9. The value of G3 is 3. Now come down to the cell E6. So the value of E6 is 4. E7 is 5. And E8 is 2. Now let's get back to our formula. So in this formula, we have to perform two operations. The first is addition and the second is multiplication. And as we have recently discussed, that according to the order of operations, multiplication always happens first, right? Addition comes after multiplication. So first of all, G3 will be multiplied by F3. Then the result coming from this operation will be added with E3. So what is the value for G3? G3 is 3. And what is the value for F3? F3 is 9. So 9 will be multiplied by 3. That will give us 27. Then that 27 will be added with E3. The value for E3 is 6. So 27 plus 6 will result in 33, right? So I hope that these two calculations are clear to you. Now you have to evaluate the remaining formulas yourself. And I wish to see your answers in the comment section below. So that's all for this lecture. I'm going to end it here and see you in the next one. Thank you.